All right, let's dive into something unsettling. We're going to pull apart a modern ghost story, a local legend that feels just a little too real. We're going to piece it together step by horrifying step to understand the truth behind the last house on Hargrove Road. You know, it always starts with something simple, doesn't it? A casual warning from a coworker. Whatever you do, don't go to the last house on Hargrove Road. You'd probably laugh it off, just another spooky little small town story, right? Well, that's exactly what our narrator thought. And that, right there, was their first mistake. So before we follow them down that path, you need to understand the legend itself. What is it about this one house on this one road that has people so terrified? Okay, so the core of the whole thing is the Dawson family. On October 12th, 1998, a family of 5, James, Helen, and their 3 kids, just disappeared. When the police finally went in, they found dinner still sitting on the table, getting cold. No forced entry, no struggle, nothing packed. It was like they just evaporated into thin air. But this is the detail that takes it from a sad mystery to something else entirely. The only clue, the only thing out of place, was that every single mirror in the house had been shattered. Not just broken, but shattered from the inside. I mean, just stop and think about that. How is that even possible?
A story like that, with a detail that impossible, it's like bait. And just 2 weeks after hearing about it, our narrator's curiosity won. This is where the legend stops being a story and becomes a first-hand account. Let's go with them on that first visit.
Driving down that overgrown road, this is what they saw. A house that looked like a shadow trying to pull itself out of the trees. It was tall, crooked, completely rotting away. The roof was sagging, the windows looked like empty eye sockets. You know that feeling. When a place doesn't just feel abandoned, it feels predatory. That was this house. And inside, oh, it got so much worse. The air was thick, smelled like dirt and rust. And over in the corner of the living room, covered in dust, was a little rocking chair, a kid's one. And it was moving, all by itself. Just slowly, back and forth, in the dead silent air. As they're staring at this chair, trying to make sense of it, trying to find a rational explanation, they hear it. A whisper, so close, it's practically on their skin. You came. There's nobody else there, but something knew they had arrived. And after that whisper, all hell broke loose. In just a few minutes, they catch their reflection in a dusty mirror, and it's wrong. There are 3 pale figures standing behind them in the reflection. They bolt, only to see the rocking chair is swiveled to face the door they're running for. As they get outside, they look up and see a silhouette watching from a window. And the cherry on top? They get in their car, check their phone, and they have 3 missed calls from their own number. Now, an experience like that would make most people leave town and never look back. But the house, it doesn't just let you go. Haunted by what happened, the narrator starts digging. They need answers. And what they find is a history even darker than the legend they were told. You see, there's a pattern to this place. Long before the Dawsons were there, a man named Elias Hargrove had a mirror-making workshop on that very land. That was 1957, the same year people started disappearing in the area. A year later, his workshop burns to the ground. Then silence for decades, until 1992, when the Dawsons build their new home right on top of that old foundation. And 6 years after that, they're gone too. An old newspaper clipping about that workshop fire had this absolutely chilling detail. It said when the police went into the burnout building, it was empty, except for dozens and dozens of mirrors, completely untouched by the fire. And here's the kicker. None of them worked. They didn't reflect anything. They were just pieces of black, dead glass. And suddenly, the mirrors in the house make a terrifying kind of sense. There are 2 important ones. The cracked mirror upstairs, that's the one that showed the distorted reflection, the one with those dark figures behind them. But the one in the basement, the one with the ornate frame and that same black glass from the workshop, that one showed another world entirely. A world where the Dawson family was trapped inside. After seeing the Dawsons in that basement mirror, the narrator ran. Again. And again, the house reached out. This time, it left a voicemail. A message in their own terrified voice saying, "You shouldn't have left. We're not finished." At this point, there's no running. The nightmares, the feeling of being watched, it's constant. They know they have to go back one last time. They have to confront whatever is in that house and find out what the real price of escape is. So they go back, they look into that black mirror in the basement one more time, and the view just expands. They see this huge, dark room that goes on forever, lined with mirrors. And inside every single mirror, a person is trapped, pounding silently on the glass. It's not a mirror, it's a prison of souls. And the Dawson children are there. You can see them, their little hands pressed against the inside of the glass. And they give this message, this absolutely hopeless confirmation of the narrator's worst fear. We can't leave, neither can you. The house isn't haunted, it's a trap. And then the warden of this prison steps forward. It's him, the mirror maker, Elias Hargrove. But his eyes are just empty, pure black. He's not a ghost, he's something else. And he smiles, like he's been waiting for them this whole time. A coldness starts to pull the narrator towards the mirror, and Elias gives them the deal. It's cold, it's simple, and it's horrifying. 2 choices. 1, stay here forever, join the collection. Or 2, bring me someone else to take your place. The narrator doesn't remember getting out. 1 second, they're being pulled toward that glass world. The next, they're on the porch, gasping. They escaped. But did they really escape? This is the final turn of the knife. It's been 3 days since that last visit. 3 days since they were offered that horrible bargain. And now, when the narrator looks in the mirror, the reflection is wrong. It moves just a split second too late. The curse didn't stay in the house, it followed them home. And that's when the most awful thought imaginable clicks into place. Every time they tell the story, they see it, that little spark of curiosity in the listener's eyes, the same spark that sent them to that house. And they realize, maybe this is how it spreads. Maybe telling the story is how you find your replacement. Which brings us to right now. The story isn't a warning anymore, is it? It's become an invitation, a dare. The narrator, or whatever is telling this story through them, is turning it on you, on us. It's saying, go ahead, take a look inside. So this is the real takeaway. This was never just a ghost story. By listening, by letting that little spark of curiosity get ignited, you've stepped into the story. The bargain is on the table. The house is always hungry. And now, we're waiting.